Good afternoon. It is lunchtime. A beautiful day outside. It is Is it Tuesday? We're all losing track of what day of the week it is, isn't it? I think it's Tuesday. Feels like a Tuesday. But it's a beautiful day outside. I am with my trusty Molly McSquirtle, Molster of old London town. You've got so many different names, haven't you? But you're the trusty camera holder today and helper. So we are carrying on with the Enchanted Wood today. Shout outs today. We're going to give a shout out today to a friend of mine back when I used to work for a certain banking organisation. A friend of mine, Helen Munro. So, hi Helen. I know you're watching. So thank you for supporting our little project. Hope you're well. Perhaps meet up after all of this is over and have a kind of get together with everybody. That'd be lovely. Right, the Enchanted Wood chapter. I think we're up into double figures now. Chapter 10. I think it's chapter 10.
Oh, there's more than that, but I can't remember.
No, I think it's chapter 10.
So it was done like the magic snowman and the Goldilocks and the three bears.
Exactly. So kind of like to recap where we're at. Joe is still up in the land of ice and snow. I think that was the last bit you had. He'd been grabbed by the nasty snowman. He's being kept and trapped there by the nasty snowman.
Is Joe still like the snowman's assistant?
Yes. Yeah, so he's being kind of trapped there. So they kind of like Moonface said that he was going to go and get the bears from the three bears used to kind of live there. So they've gone to the Goldilocks and the three bears, and the three bears have. I think the plan is that they're going to go up to the land of ice and snow and rescue Joe. So that's where we find them now. The Battle of the Bears. Right. Goldilocks, the three bears, the girls and Moonface all went out of the little cottage. How strange it seemed to see roses blossoming over the walls, when ice and snow lay all around. The thing is, where do we go to find the polar bears? Said Goldilocks. Over there, towards the sun, said the father bear. Beth and Franny were surprised to see both the moon and the sun shining in the sky. They followed the father bear, slipping and sliding and holding on to one another. It was very cold, and their noses and toes felt as if they were freezing. Suddenly, they saw the little snow house that Joe had built for the magic snowman. Look, said the father bear, we'd better make for that. But before they got there, a big white figure squeezed itself out of the snow house and saw them. It was the magic snowman. As soon as he saw the three bears and the others, he began to shout loudly in a windy, snowy voice, Enemies! Enemies! Hey, bears! Come and send off the enemies! We're not enemies, yelled Moonface, and Goldilocks ran forward to show the snowman that she was just a little girl. But Moonface pulled her back. He didn't trust that old snowman. The snowman bent his big fat body down and picked up great handfuls of snow. He threw one at Goldilocks. She ducked down and it passed over her and hit the baby bear. Ouch, he said, and sat down in a hurry. Then everything happened at once. A crowd of white polar bears hurried out of their underground home to help the snowman, and soon the air was full of flying snowballs. The snow was hard and the balls hurt when they hit anyone. It wasn't a bit of good the girls shouting that they were friends, not enemies. Nobody heard them, and soon there was a fierce battle going on. Oh dear, gasped Beth, trying her best to throw straight. This is dreadful. We shall never rescue Joe by behaving like this. But there really didn't seem anything else to be done. After all, if people are fighting you, you can't do much to defend yourself. And the three bears and the girls and Moonface felt very angry at having hard snowballs thrown at them. Smack, thud, biff, squish. The snowballs burst as they hit, and soon there was a great noise of angry oomps from the white bears and ooches from the teddy bears and yells from the children and screeches from Moonface, who acted as if he was mad, hopping about and yelling and kicking up the snow as well as throwing it. His big round face was a fine target for snowballs, and he was hit more than anybody else. Poor Moonface. Now, whilst this fierce battle was going on, where do you suppose Joe was? As soon as he heard the cry of "Enemies! Enemies!" he'd hidden in a corner, for he didn't want to be mixed up in any fight. When he saw the white bears going out and he was left all alone, he began at once to think of escaping. He crept to the hole that led above ground. The battle was some way off, so Joe did not see that the enemies were really his own friends. If he had, he would have gone to join them at once. What a terrible noise they're all making, he thought. It sounds like a battle between gorillas and bears to me. I'm not going near them. I'd be eaten up or something. I should just run hard the opposite way and hope I'll meet someone to help me. So Joe, dressed in his big white woolly coat and looking just like a little white bear himself, crept off over the ice and snow, not seen by anyone. He ran as soon as he thought he was out of sight. He ran and he ran and he ran. But he met nobody. Not a soul was to be seen. Only a lonely seal lay on a shelf of ice. But even he dived below as soon as he saw Joe. And then Joe stopped in the greatest astonishment and stared as if his eyes would fall out of his head. He had come to the cottage of the three bears, standing all alone in the middle of the ice and snow, and, of course, its roses were still blooming round it, scenting the air. "I'm dreaming," said Joe. "I simply must be dreaming. A cottage with roses, here in the middle of the snow. Well, I shall go and see who lives there. Perhaps they would give me something to eat and let me rest, for I'm very hungry and tired." He knocked at the door. There was no answer. He opened the door and went in. How he stared! There was no one to be seen at all, but on the table stood 3 bowls of steaming porridge, one big, one middle-sized, and one small. It was rather dark, so Joe lighted a big candle on the table. Then he sank down into the biggest chair, but it was far too big and he got up again. He sat down in the next sized chair, but that was too piled up with cushions, and he got up to sit in the smallest chair. That was just right, and Joe settled down comfortably. But alas, his weight was too much for it, and the chair broke to bits beneath him. He looked at the delicious porridge. He tasted the porridge in the biggest bowl. It was much too hot and burnt his tongue. He tasted the next bowl, but that was far too sweet. But when he tasted the porridge in the little bowl, it was just right. So Joe ate it all up. Then he felt so sleepy that he thought he really must rest. So he went into the bedroom and lay down on the biggest bed. But it was far too big, so he tried the middle-sized one. That was too soft and went down in the middle. So Joe lay down on the cot, and that was so small and warm and comfortable that he fell fast asleep. All this time the snowball battle was going on. The snowman was so big and the polar bears were so fierce that they were very soon the 3 bears, the children and Moonface were driven backwards. Then a snowstorm blew up and the snow fell so thickly that it was quite impossible to see anything. Moonface called out an alarm. "Bears! Goldilocks! Beth! Franny! Take hold of each other's hands at once and don't let go! One of us might easily be lost in the storm!" Everyone at once took hands. The snow blew into their faces and they could see nothing. Bending forwards, they began to walk away from the white bears, who'd stopped fighting now and were trying to find out where their enemies were. "Don't shout or anything," said Moonface. "We don't want the white bears to hear us, in case they take us prisoners. They might not listen to the 3 bears. Move off and we'll look for some sort of shelter till this storm is over." They were all very miserable. They were cold, rather frightened, and quite lost. They stumbled over the snow, keeping hold of one another's hands firmly. They went on, and suddenly Goldilocks shook off Moonface's hand and pointed in front of them. "A light!" she said in astonishment. Everyone stopped. I say, it's our cottage!" shrieked the baby bear in surprise and delight. "But who's inside? Someone must have lighted the candle." They all stared at the lighted window. Who was inside the cottage? Could the magic snowman have found it, or the polar bears? Was it an enemy inside, or a friend? Whee! Blew the wind, and the snowflakes fell thickly on everyone as they stood there wondering. "Ooh," shivered Moonface. "We should get dreadful cold standing out here in the snow. Let's go in and find out who's there." So the father bear opened the door, and one by one they all trooped in, looking round the empty room, half afraid.
Maybe some more surprises as the next one.
Yes, more and more surprises. Well, we know who they're going to find, because they're going to find Joe in there. But is that the end of the adventures? I suspect not, young Squirtle. So, as you say, more and more surprises for tomorrow. So that's the end of Enchanted Wood for today. So what have you got? Tell me what you've got planned for this afternoon, because Mummy's got the afternoon off. What are you going to be doing with Mummy?
Well,
I know there's a game of Monopoly. You might not know about that.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do?
I don't really know.
No. You can play in the garden a bit, maybe. Yeah, bounce on your trampoline because it's beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. So we'll do something outside. Daddy's got to work. Right, okay. Have a fabulous day, everybody. We will return tomorrow for chapter 11 of Enchanted Wood. More and more surprises, but have a wonderful day. Catch up tomorrow. Bye.